Hey everyone, Snowy here, and welcome to my match review between Vex and AOW in the pre-league season round 2. And would you take a look at that? Just cool from 233 with the hard eyes. Absolutely loving this match. So, let's get right into it. To start things off, we'll be looking at the spawns, and Vex has some very good spawns for the Tower 4 side of the map, and a few good spawns for Tower 1. AOW with 4 good spawns for Tower 1 and a few good spawns for Tower 4. However, since AOW is on the bottom side of the map, they will have a further distance to relocate to both Tower 1 and Tower 4. If you didn't know, the top side spawns are 4 squares closer to Tower 4 and 2 squares closer to Tower 1. So if you're pinning relocations for your team, you need to take this into account. Otherwise, you could just end up getting a bunch of your players' relocation canceled, and that is what happens in this game. If you take a look here, Vex goes for a double relocation cancel with their 2 best spawns, and this proves to be a tower winner because all 5 of these players are going to get canceled, and they're also going to pick up a couple of stragglers along the sides who relocated as well and just destroy their buildings, leaving AOW with minimal players to defend this tower. And they probably won't be able to get it for the rest of the match. So let's see how this plays out. Look how far back AOW's relocations still are by the time they finish their relocations here. This is very important to note. Even these 4 players here could have been canceled by Iraqman. Imagine they get 9 players at the start of the match. Like, that's massive. 9 players stuck in spawn for another 3 minutes. That most of the time will win you the game in the first minutes. And so if you're pinning against this, if you're AOW, what do you do in this situation? Well, you're going to have to account for the fact that they have really good spawns, and you're going to have to just not pin these locations for your players to go. You're going to have to pin down more to the south and create some sort of like a rectangular structure, knock off the front row players, and then move up, and hopefully you can hold the tower from being captured right off the start. If not, it is what it is. It's better than just having 9 players, up to 9 players stuck in spawn. And in this case, it's going to be like 7 players. So that's one thing that you really need to take into consideration going into this new IBL season. A lot of teams are starting to pick up on the fact that these spawning relocation moves matter, and if you're not paying attention to it, stuff like this can happen, and it can be a game changer. Now, in this specific game, Vex has 7 less players than AOW currently, or not currently, but they will. I believe AOW gets a... Yep. Okay, so they have 6 less players than AOW at the 6-minute mark. The subs are coming in, and that probably is the biggest reason why AOW won here, because looking at this start for AOW on the bottom side is not good at all, and if it was an even match in terms of players, I suspect that Vex would have won this. However, you don't always get 40 players, so it is what it is. Looking at the middle tower, you can see that AOW just had an overlap that was canceled right off the start, so unfortunately someone misunderstood the pins, or I don't know what happened, some sort of communication breakdown, but now this guy's in spawn for the next 3 minutes. Really, if you're relocating to a tower, you don't want to be, unless it's pre-planned and this is the positioning that you want, you don't really want to be relocating to these spots that are in between the rows, because that's taking up a lot of space. There's a much higher chance of a relocation overlap, and that's exactly what happens here. So now there's an extra player stuck in spawn for AOW as well. You look up at Vex relocations, and this is exactly what you want to see. Perfect start, in my opinion. Maybe this player would have been better off back one, just because they don't have the full square to complete the structure, but you know, as long as they're focused on defending this player, then it should be fine. All right, so getting into the fights here, looking at Tower 1, we have pretty much even relocations across the board, and everybody manages to get to the tower. So the fighting starts immediately. The rallies are coming in. A couple of back and forths on the tower itself. Both teams trying to get a foothold. Yoda taking some significant amount of damage, and Lenzer as well. Those main priority targets, those pressure points, are being focused. Same thing with Nick and Celeste. They are filling up these rallies and taking damage. So a lot of offense coming out from both sides. Oh, it does look like Vex has entered this tower with supports activated, and AOW is managing to stop them. Right here we see a couple of movebacks from Lenzer, and Yoda dropping a shield, and he will move back shortly after, I think. There he goes. Killer Koala filling this front spot straight away. I actually think this is a mistake. I think he should have moved back. He's already taken a lot of damage. Moving up into this position with this low of health, it's just asking to die. You're not going to be able to reborn this early. You're going to be forced to use a shield. If you don't use the shield, you're going to get rallied back to spawn, and so it's probably just better if he just moves back like Yoda did in this instance. I mean, if you have to pop the shield, that's great and all to stay alive. It's better than dying, but you know, it's better if you just move back around half or a little below half of your prosperity. Don't use the shield. That way they can't snipe you with one rally from long range and send you back to spawn, and then you can build up enough points to get your defense talent, and then you can move to the front and activate your reborn. So this was a little preemptive here out of Killer Koala. Or was... No, okay, yeah. Did he reborn? What is happening here? It's just like... Was he full? Was... Infinity Bug, I tell you. Infinity Bug strikes again. Okay, what else do we have going on? Nick still barely surviving. He's getting hit with this last rally. And they successfully defend it. I mean, he should probably think about moving back as well. He's a little bit low. I like this. This is a really nice relocation up into the spot next to the tower. Full health. Doing exactly what he should be doing. And you can see that AOW's, all of their players that, not all of them, but quite a few that didn't manage to make it to the other tower, Tower 4, are now showing up, and Vex are starting to get outnumbered, being down 6 players. Fellas moving up from the second row as well, and he's immediately taking damage, and we're not seeing any rallies come out of him. This is a very aggressive rally here from Sherpa. He's looking to turn things around because it's not looking great. They've still managed to hold the tower, but it's not looking great for Vex as they slowly start to dwindle on players, and a few of their players are getting low. And there goes Bruce. Yoda's still low from the start. There's a rally coming out of Velas. I think that's how you pronounce it. I don't know. Sherpa's making a decent play here, managing to get off a lot of damage in the time span. And if you slow this down, you can see that as soon as he's taking the hit, he's attacking, speeding it up, recalling, and successfully defending against the incoming offense. And there's another successful defense. And as soon as he gets that defense, he immediately attacks again and sends somebody back to spawn. And there's 6 AOW players near him. He's managing to pull this off. So putting a lot of pressure on them. Definitely a good micro management player. Good focus on blocking the move up as soon as it comes through. Does unfortunately get hit with a solo attack because his marches were doing that. Well, one solo attack, I'd say that's probably worth getting the relocation blocked. Unfortunately, at this point, he's in a bad position and he needs to be focused on stopping the tower. But he can't really because there's 6 players surrounding him. So yeah, at this point, it looks pretty lost. I mean, they got the tower. They're massively outnumbered. AOW is reinforcements, and Vex is just dwindling. So what do you do here? I mean, you get out. It's time to move away from this tower. It's basically a lost cause. All these players should be looking to move. Killer Koala quite low. He's popped a shield, so he should be getting out of there before that shield comes back up, or he'll just be sent back to spawn. One thing I'm noticing after these fights, there's a lot of Vex players in the spawn right now. How many we got? 1, 2, 7 Vex players in spawn, and probably going to add a couple more to that list. And only 3 AOW players in spawn. And at this point, they have evened up the player count with the subs. It's 40 versus 40 now. Oh wait, no, it's not. It's still 34 versus 40. Never mind. So yeah, it's gonna be a very uphill battle. This guy is moving up to really take it to them. Looks like Panjol is on his way out. Same with Mando. I think that's the correct decision. I'm going to speed this up a little bit. Okay. This relocation, I honestly, I don't really see the point in doing this. The tower's lost. You're moving 2 squares away. You'd be better off moving to mid or back home or something, you know, to affect the map more. I can't really see this being a winning fight in any scenario, so wasting a relocation, in my opinion, is just not worth it. Should probably have relocated somewhere else. But, I mean, maybe he feels like he won't make it somewhere else before he gets killed, and he doesn't. There he goes. Sherpa with the right idea, though. Getting the Reborn in and getting out, using that time, that downtime, that 1 minute, I think it's a 1 minute shield, to relocate across the map and just not bothering to attack. That's the correct call. Don't want to be taking unnecessary damage, but still want to be relevant on the map. And he moves to this spot here on the map, which is a safe relocation. I do like this. The players that are fighting in the middle won't really be paying attention up to these sides. They'll have their screen hovered around the tower or around the enemy players here for rallies. And so it's more likely that he's going to get in, and he does. So I like that relocation. And I believe down here, Hellfire coming out of spawn, moving to this similar spot on the other side. I think that's a good relocation if you're coming out of spawn, because it allows for you to get on the map with a low chance of them canceling you. I think in general it's best to just get to your home tower and then move out from the home tower to those other towers. That way you're at least, protecting something. Whereas if you go across map from the spawn, let's say you go from spawn to tower 4 and you relocate behind Chester here, then the odds of you getting canceled are extremely high, and then you'd be stuck in spawn for 3 minutes plus another 3 minutes to go wherever else you decide to relocate to. Like, you could be stuck in spawn. You just want to make sure you get on the map when you're coming out of spawn. You don't want to be stacking up players there. So I think that relocations like this are good off screen. They can't see it on the minimap. If you're a player that's like on the map not really doing anything, like for example, if you're Big Head here and you're relocating, then if you're in voice call, these players here should be the ones scanning around to see if there are potential relocations in spots you might not expect. Like maybe they go here to guarantee they're going to be able to get to mid, right? And if you see that coming, then you can look at the relocation timer, right? For example, we'll use Hellfire here. You could go scroll up the line and pick out a spot, or pick out where his caravan is and see how long it's going to be. Let's say you find it and he's a minute away, right? Then you could tell your teammates middle, hey, Lena or underscore Zilla, you can tell them he's going to be getting there in a minute. So in 45 seconds, go for the relocation cancel. And small details like this, keeping players in spawn, slowly adding up that numbers advantage at each tower, that's the kind of stuff that easily wins games. So if you're someone who's on the map and you don't have much to do, like, for example, if you're just defending this tower, everybody here should be looking to communicate to the team what they're seeing, because they're not really doing much. They've already done their job. So, yeah, just keep that in mind. While all that fighting was taking place on the top side at Tower 1, Jesma here was defending the home tower and is actually finishing their building at Tower 4 right as this player, Sorax, relocates from, I believe, the altar. Let's see, where was he? Yep, he came straight from the altar. He's just far enough away that if you don't perfectly react in time, if you're this player here and you don't react immediately to send 3 marches to destroy this building, I think this is like the max range it can be that you can get a cancel off. And so if you're not going right away, he's going to get there, and he actually has a better position than this player who is supposed to be defending this tower. So this player comes to the tower, sits here for a little bit in a spot that's not super ideal. Typically, if you're defending home tower, you want to be right next to it so you can defend the tower and fight at the same time. Whereas this player who gets here, let's say Jesba doesn't relocate away, which they do, which is a big mistake. This definitely should have been canceled, especially now that you see this player has finished relocating at Tower 2. I mean, you couldn't see it coming, but when you look at the altars and you see that there are players there at the start of the match, you have to be expecting that they're going to go to wherever the weak point is. And obviously that's Tower 2 in this situation. So this player should have been ready to defend against this, or at least been ready to react when they did see somebody show up, which they do not. And they finish relocating. Huge mistake. Give the tower over for free, and I mean, it just makes the loss even more imminent now because of that. However, let's say that he does manage to cancel the relocation, he or she, and stay here to defend. At least then they can stop the tower from being captured until maybe some of the players out of spawn who just show up in spawn show up to help. Like, you send one extra player, you kill this guy, and then you continue fighting elsewhere on the map, right? At a certain point, you do have to be prepared. You do have to have a certain amount of players prepared to defend against any teleport plays that would be coming through. But I think it's a little too early in the match for that to be, something you need to be worried about. I think it may be in the next 5-10 minutes you would have to be ready to defend against that. But for now, no, you don't need to. So just canceling the relocation and stopping the tower capture would have been good enough here, but unfortunately doesn't happen. One thing that Sorax can do, though, since they're closer to the tower than the other player, is you can actually still manage to capture this tower if you're quick enough. You put your weak marches in first, your weakest march, and then your march 4, 3, 2, 1, and then as this person attacks, you recall and you just send it back in. And so as soon as, if they don't send like all 4 marches, it's going to be difficult to stop you from capturing this if you play it correctly anyways. So you definitely want to be close to the tower off the start, or at least move closer to the tower. It's one thing to take up space so that they can't relocate in, but if it's just one person defending, then you definitely want to be next to the tower. So you'll see what happens. Sorax going for the tower, gets the cancel, still capturing the tower, gets the next cancel, and it's just a complete disaster. Now those 2 players are stuck at spawn. This player shows up, gets the 3rd cancel. I mean, it's a disaster here. You don't want to see this if you're Vex. And now we got somebody relocating. Who is this? Relocating back across the map. They realize how doomed their position is, and they're relocating across the map. And a third, wait, is this a 4th player coming from spawn? Oh my good lord, 4th player getting canceled by this one guy. I mean, this is why you need to go outside of the range of being able to cancel relocations, or you need to show up at the same time so he has to pick one. If you're going to go close to the tower, both of you have to show up at the same time, not next to each other, so he can't double relocation cancel. But yeah, you do that, then one guy gets there, and then okay, you could start fighting. But staggered approach here with the players coming in from the spawn, getting 4 cancels off is just an absolute disaster. This guy basically hard carries. I mean, they were going to win at probably anyways because they managed to get mid and they have top lockdown and they're up 6 players, so they're going to win regardless. But say this was a close match and he did this, then he would have just hard carried the game for his team. So I mean, you really just can't afford to be making those kind of mistakes. All right, and let's check out mid lane to see the rally battles. A lot of these fights come down to who can effectively move up in position well around the tower while defending their teammates' relocations and stopping the enemy from relocating close to the tower, allowing you to build up numbers and eventually capture the center tower. Speed of rallies, all that kind of stuff. Finding solo attacks where you can from march counters to build an advantage. All that stuff comes into play. And right away we see that Kraftstoff is taking heavy damage from solo attacks and rallies. Very quick rallies coming from Maozilla with the solo attacks on top of it. So this is the kind of stuff you want to be seeing from your frontline defense player in mid. He's getting his solo. He finds a good setup that allows him to win a solo attack while also rallying with his second, getting a full rally and making 2 successful attacks at once, and that's why this guy dies so quickly, and he gets a massive advantage for his team because of this. That player isn't able to move back in time and doesn't get the defenses he needs, and that's pretty much it for him, back to spawn. And so because of that, we now have player advantage for AOW mid, and we'll see how they can deal with that. Hellfire's down to half health, so he should be thinking about moving back and somebody taking his place straight away. This player has only taken 2 hits, and he's so far away from his team. He's in the front. Very good defense is coming out from them, from his allies who are close by. And if it go back a little bit, you can see this player that shows up. Slow this down a little bit. He shows up. And this is good recognition from this player. One second. Relocation builds, and he immediately double or triple defends his isolated player, who's also calling. He must have called for some defenses because he gets it from everybody. And the rally comes in and completely stopped. And then because so many players have successfully defended him, any player that gets kicked out, more players are coming in. So he's literally topped off the whole time. This is part of the reason why they aren't able to kill him, because yeah, he's getting solo attacked. Maybe I didn't see, but he's getting solo attacked. He's getting rallied. They're still able to defend, and then this is a good relocation here coming in from Snorlax. Nice little picture there. Moving up, taking some good space around the tower, able to defend underscore Zilla in the front with that position. Finally, he's taking some damage. Oftentimes, to break these defenses, you need full rallies, and you also need to send solo attacks in front of it to kick people out, and then so your rally is successful. That's going to be a key. Because Vex is down so many players, they just don't have the extra reinforcements coming in from home, which is a big deal. Otherwise, they're doing all right, but they are down a player already, so this player should be continuously canceled going forward. This relocation here from Kimberly, this, if you can help it, this should have been waited on. I think that player just sent the relocation out, and it wasn't long before they sent the cancel. So it's one thing to keep in mind. If a player just sends a relocation and you look to cancel it, here the relocation starts. Well, let's go see where the caravan actually is, if we can. Right here. 1 minute away still. And then the relocation comes in. So you can waste a minute of his time just by not relocating straight away. Sometimes you're too preoccupied fighting, like let's say you're underscore Zilla or you're freeing in this position. You're preoccupied with fighting, solo attacking, rallying, recalling. You don't really have time to look at these timers, but if you're a player in the back and you're just joining rallies or defending your teammates, then you have time to look and see how long it's going to be before they get there. This player will not be moving, so this is a great spot to be canceling from. So I really like that this player does the canceling here, but can definitely wait a little bit longer before doing it. And same thing goes for right here, right? Like they send the relocation, it just happens, and then they cancel it immediately. So guess what happens? They just send it again, right? Nice double relocation cancel here. Couple more Vex players finally getting in, but AOW still has the position. And holding strong. I mean, this player's been here the whole time. Hasn't only taken one more hit since the beginning of the match, pretty much. And I'd say they're pretty much in prime position. Well, I do really. This is a good relocation because now he could stop anybody from moving up for a little bit. He can shield, he can stall, and they can all in this tower straight away, which I think they do. He's putting the pressure on. Anybody who tries to go for the tower, he can attack. So this is a good strategy, especially if he has a reborn. And they do go for the all-in for the tower. Oh, they managed to stop it, but you can see they're just getting pushed back further and further. Not able to move up and stop the tower capture. Finally, Fring goes in to help them get the capture. And they get it. So at this point, everybody recalls. They have a good amount of players here, good setup. All they need to do is just a formality at this point. All they need to do is consolidate, get close to each other, rally everyone out, slowly start to move up, take position around this tower, and the game is over. This tower's captured. This tower's captured. Home tower, not really a threat. You know, I like this. Whoever's coming out of spawn here, they're coming out of spawn. They just get on the map. It's getting close to the time where teleport plays can happen, so having more players at the home tower is a good play. And it means you don't get stuck in spawn. The more people not in spawn, the more people who are active doing something on the map. Yeah, AOW is completely lost at this tower from the great start Vex had, but it just doesn't matter because they're outnumbered, and the nice play that Zorax made on the home tower means that they have to send 8 players here to stop this one player, and that's just basically forcing an overcommitment from Vex. That overcommitment from Vex means that their players are not reinforcing the other spots on the map because they can't get there anymore. They've pretty much given up complete control of mid. And there's pretty much nowhere else to get but home tower, so they go there even though they need to be going somewhere else, and that's it. They'll just run out of time. AOW will slowly win the match, and I can't see them giving up any of these other towers. So many people here, so many people mid, and all they need to do is send a few more home, and it's just over. There's no way that Vex could make up the ground and get a position around a tower that's already been taken. Just skip ahead now and see if there's anything else that happens. Yep, sending 5. I like this, is a good amount. These players are still hanging around fighting here, but there isn't as many AOW players here as there is Vex, so it's fine, and they're outnumbering. So the fact that they've sent some players, they still have some players here, is fine, because these players honestly need to be somewhere else. They need to get another tower, or there's no coming back, right? So they get the home tower. They leave 4 there. That's good. It's a good amount. AOW starting to make a play for this, but Vex has more than enough players, and they decide to go for top to try and get their 3rd tower to maybe come back into the game, but AOW has too many players here. Good defense. They managed to get some a decent structure around this tower, actually. Slowly getting better and better position. Sending in some reinforcements. Vex has to defend it. It's not going to be enough to take this tower. AOW not letting in anybody. They're completely surrounding tower 1. No chance they're going to get it there. And AOW actually does miss this. They managed to all in and get this tower despite the relatively even numbers. A very nice all-in play, all at the same time. Snipe the tower. There you go. 4 towers to 1. They even managed to get the home tower at the end. Let's take a look at that. Teleport play coming in from Kingdom June. Immediately canceling the relocation. Honda Toyota teleporting in. He's only got a few hits left on his prosperity, but teleporting in, get them relocation cancel. These guys are a little too far away from the tower. They're surrounding it now. They're going for the all-in, actually managing to hold the all-in. Very good play Mano taking a ton of damage trying to stop the tower. LJ not really doing anything. Must be out of troops. And, I mean, to be honest, at this point, I wouldn't do anything either. The match is already lost, but they managed to get this tower, and that's pretty much it. A good game from Vex, better game from AOW. Unfortunately, Vex just couldn't fill up 40 players on the roster, and that's pretty much the reason why they lost, I think. But AOW did play well. They had some good rallies mid, so it would have been an interesting match to see a 40 versus 40, but it is what it is. Good game to both sides. Thanks for watching my video. Appreciate it, guys. Give it a like if you liked it, and maybe I'll do some more. Have a great day.